Good morning. Welcome to another edition of the Sunday Rise with the Sideline Junkies. Week 10 NFL. Good morning, guys. I got, like always, got the Midnight Rider with me and Mr. Official Sideline Junkie himself. We got the man Thanos. What's going on, sir?
What's up, guys? How y'all doing?
Hey, man, I'm good. How about you?
Doing good.
Good. Midnight Rider, how you feeling this morning?
I'm good, man. Just as you can see, I'm looking at this early morning game. I think next year, if we start doing like a betting segment, we gotta figure out the Europe unders. That might be a thing. Yeah. Like, I don't know if a European game has ever hit the over. And that's something I'm gonna have to do some research on, because that might be a thing for next year for us, where we can try to steal some money.
Interesting. Very interesting. All right, fellas. Let's dive into the horrible. Let's get it started. We got to start it off some type of way. And I guess we got to go to this Thursday night game. The Bears defeat the Panthers. I should have flipped it around because the Bears were home, I believe. The Bears win 16-13. I got a question for each of you guys. And I know when you're scheduling these games as an NFL scheduler, you have to do some anticipation. You know, I thought this year would be like a Justin Fields kind of breakout year. And then you got the rookie QB for the Panthers, Young. But how can you avoid these games if you're the NFL? It has to. I mean, the NFL is too powerful. It's no type of flex you could do 2 weeks in advance to get these teams off of a primetime game. Midnight Rider, you go first, and then we'll go to Thanos.
So the way I see it is, we got to remember that people make plans to go to these games ahead of time. So people will adjust their schedules. They'll take flights in the cities. So when you take a game that's supposed to be on a Sunday and move it to a Thursday, you're taking away certain parts of the audience just because those people can't change their plans. Because, I mean, think about it. If I was a traveling fan, when I get the schedule and I see a Thursday night game, I'm putting my plans in for that Thursday night game at a certain venue. So I can't, if that venue all of a sudden gets changed to a Sunday, I mean, we know how moving a flight is and moving hotel arrangements and things like that. And I think that was the biggest part of the Mara, the owners of the Giants. That was the crux of their argument, was you can't have these fans that come in and schedule their appointments and their stuff around these games and then move the games on them, and then they still come to the game. We're doing them a disservice. Like, the NFL has to have something in place to take care of their fans. What you think, Ross?
Yeah, that's true.
I'm sorry. What you think, Thanos?
It's true. You plan to go to the games. As expensive as it is to go, you have to make plans in advance. People have already checked in, hey, I'm taking off work because I'm going to go out and tailgate, or I have to travel, or I have to do whatever. You just get stuck with a bad game. And it seems like the Thursday night games are always bad games, no matter what.
And I think a lot of that is, and I think we're going to see some of that. One of the games we're talking about today is the Browns and the Ravens. The Ravens have a quick turnaround, and they play Cincinnati Thursday night. Both teams have a quick turnaround. I guess this is the formula. It's nothing you can do right now because of the bad turnaround and these bad games on Thursday night. It was one of the ones where you need to tape your eyelids open to watch. Even if you're a football fan and you love football, you love hearing those pads hit. It's just a hard game to watch.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think the other problem too is that Carolina just didn't put them like. I had this situation before. I'm a dovetail off into a personal story real quick. So I played on this team in a flag league. At the time, I probably weighed about 255, 260. And when we called the play in the huddle, I walked out and I realized that I wasn't the slot guy. I was the X or the Y. And when I realized that as I was looking in, I was like, these jokers don't understand that I'm 260. I'm not beating anybody on the fly. I'm not the explosive weapon in this offense. I should be in the slot. And when I watched the game the other night, to kind of bring it full circle, Adam Thielen should not be your number one option. And that's how I felt that night. Like, I shouldn't be the number one option. I should be 3 or 4. I can't be one at 260 playing outside receiver. And in this game, when I watched it, it troubled me that Carolina didn't have a better plan coming into the season with this young quarterback, because he should have a better number one. Even if he doesn't have a better number one, his 2 and 3 options should be better. And I like the kid Jonathan Mingo out of Ole Miss, but that's their problem, is they don't have enough offensive weapons. So when the owner came out this morning talking about the offense is predictable, it's boring, and all that stuff, well, you don't have anything on offense to work with. You know, you got Miles Sanders, who you don't like to use. You got Chuba Hubbard, who is decent at best. You don't have anything explosive in this offense. You can't have an explosive offense with firecrackers, and not dynamite. B, you got to unmute you.
Yeah, my bad. I'm looking at everything. I was saying you need some M80s in that thing to give it a spark. You need something to get it off their ass. But so the Carolina Panthers that actually helped themselves by losing, because they have Chicago's pick, and they, as of right now, they have the number 1 pick.
Reverse that.
Is
Chicago helped themselves by beating Carolina. Because
you're right. You're right.
I know where you're going.
Yeah,
but you got just
I had it flipped around.
Yeah.
One more thing. I know we said we weren't going to stay on the Thursday night game. We got to slate the games to get to. Are any of these teams, and with even what you just said with the Carolina not having any weapons, are they in the market for a quarterback in the 24 draft?
Who?
Carolina
no.
or Chicago?
Chicago, yes. Chicago is going to blow up the Justin Fields experiment. They're going to draft, because I figure they're either drafting 1 or they're drafting 3 somewhere in these scenarios. 1, 2, or 3 is basically their scenario. And I think I wouldn't personally take Caleb. And that's my thought. I think Drake May is going to be the quarterback that somebody takes in the first picks or the first 2 picks. So I think it's a combination of Caleb Williams, Drake May, and then everybody else as the draft falls. But it's going to be interesting, because this class of quarterbacks, you're getting a bunch of guys that are like 24, 25 playing quarterback that would have normally been in the other drafts. But because of the COVID year and the transfer portal, these guys have this time now. So this is probably going to be a very heavy first and second round draft class that we get. So you're going to get Michael Penix. You're going to get Caleb Williams. You're going to get Quinn Ewers. You're going to get all these guys in this draft class and as options. So I think if you're in the quarterback market, this is the year to take a quarterback.
What'd you say, Thanos?
Yeah, I agree. I can't see Carolina drafting a quarterback. Bryce Young hasn't had the opportunity to grow or anything like that. Like Midnight Rider was saying, they don't have any talent. They have zero offensive talent. They have some young guys, but they just don't have any talent. Bryce Young is under duress every time he throws the ball. I think they need a better game plan for him, as opposed to, again, the long dropbacks, the 5 and 7 step dropbacks. He needs a little bit more of a quicker offense. They need to rely on a running game and not to put the ball in his hand right now, because I don't think he's prepared. He hasn't grown enough, and he hasn't had the opportunity to grow. I do think Chicago, for some reason, they don't like Justice Fields. I think he has talent, but I don't know if it's going to translate from head to hand. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. And it may happen in a different venue. You may need to change the scenery.
I think Chicago's move is to move. I'm sorry, not move Caleb. Move Justin. See what you can get for him.
Yeah.
You're going to suffer because I think Justin will go somewhere else and probably evolve into the quarterback that people want if he has talent on the outside. The problem is the last 2 years, his best receiver has been the kid number 11. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but so you got to, I say this all the time, you got to put talent on the field with these quarterbacks in order for them to develop at the pace you want them to develop. And I just don't see Chicago doing that. And I think that's something they have to focus on because they have the draft capital. So they can move Fields, and they have 2 first round picks. And I think one is Carolina's and one is theirs.
Yeah.
So they have an opportunity to be very active in this draft to build more capital so they can add more pieces. And even with them trading the number 2 pick for Montez, it doesn't hurt them because they have other options and other ammunition. I just want to see how active they are. But I would personally, if I'm a GM, I'm moving off of Fields because I didn't draft him.
Right.
He's not my guy. I'll draft my guy, and then I'll move Fields in a supplementary move or a move off to the side so I can get draft capital and take that capital and either build my O-line and build my my running back room is going to be fine because you got Khalil Herbert and you got Rashawn Johnson.
Yep.
So I don't see a problem there. The only problem I see is their problem at wide receiver. And I know we probably went too far on that, but yeah.
It's cool. We're gonna make it up real quick. We'll pin that conversation for Tuesday night. Real quick college recap. We'll let Midnight Rider take this segment, and we're gonna go through some things. And I'm looking at a score, and I'm just like, okay. But Midnight Rider, take it away.
So let me go to that score because I know the score you're talking about already. Colorado 31, Arizona 34. This was a ball game that probably early on in the slate we had as a group as a W for Colorado if they had their stuff together. But I think what's happened is Colorado has come back to the fray. We know what they are now. They're a team that last year was 1 whatever, lost ball games by at least 20 points, and you just can't make up that difference. Like that difference or whatever it was that Prime had going on was so expansive that we got the early returns, but now you're coming back to reality. And that's the case in this team. So Arizona wins that ball game. The next ball game on the slate that we had was Oregon 36, USC 27. I'm not sure if Caleb Williams went to cry in somebody's arms or not, but
the game wasn't that close.
Bo Nix is a guy that perplexed me. I know on Tuesdays we do the QB top list, but the only reason he's never been on a list or he's only been on it once is because the dude's like 25. And I don't see anything special from him when it comes to him playing the quarterback position. I think he's just in the right system. So I struggle with putting him in the list because I feel like he's just a person that has the experience. He's seen this for 5 years. He's been a starter for 5 years. So that's where I question his NFL availability or his NFL talent. I say that. Georgia, Ole Miss, Georgia 52, Ole Miss 17. I thought Georgia was this might have been a game where Georgia could have lost it, but Georgia just has talent everywhere. I can't change that. I can't say anything different. Next game, Washington 35, Utah 28. Washington's linebacker returned an interception. I guess he thought he was Deshaun Jackson and dropped the ball 2 yards before he gets in the end zone.
Why do we keep seeing
which is crazy? But it's because they don't get it. I'm with you, BJ. I'm with you. It doesn't make sense, but these guys still do it. Missouri 36, Tennessee 7. That's probably like my shocker of the weekend because I just really didn't know. I didn't think Tennessee would fall out like this. But it tells me that Missouri's a better team right now. Maryland 13, Nebraska 10. I can't say it anymore that I'm so disappointed in Talia, Tagovailoa. It's just annoying. I'm done. And I'm really wishing I could see, not wishing, but I want to see what Maryland's quarterback situation is next year. Because Maryland has the talent at receiver to be a top-notch team. And I just don't understand what's going on with their quarterback play. But that's really all we got for college football. If you guys want to add in anything real quick.
Real quick, Jimbo Fisher has been fired as Texas A&M coach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Real quick, just some news. He got $76
You know what's funny about that?
He got $76 million left.
Exactly. That's the crazy part about it. He's another guy where he caught lightning in a bottle. He's on the Adam Gase train. He wasn't a good head coach, but he got Jameis Winston as his QB. So Winston made him a better coach than what he really was. Oh my gosh, Bo Nix equals Chris Winkie.
That's who I was thinking of.
Is that Paul Cordova, or is that really?
I think that's our studio engineer on assignment. That's big guy.
That's a good call. That's a good call.
That's close to the truth.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I saw it. I laughed. I was like, that puzzle fits.
Yeah.
So, all right. We ready, guys? We ready to go to the first game?
Let's go.
Let's do it. The Detroit Lions are going to SoFi Stadium. You got to say it with your pinky up. They're going to SoFi to take on the Chargers. They are the favorites, 2.5. And the over-under for this game is 48.5. We'll keep the same order. Midnight Rider first. We'll go to Thanos. I'll finish it out. Take it away, Midnight Rider. Lions and the Chargers.
The best thing about this is it's a dome. So you get the best of Jared Goff. Jared Goff has some crazy stat where if he's in a dome, his numbers go up tremendously. Do we have the stats on this one? There we go.
We sure do.
Go ahead and knock it out, DJ, before I go first.
I have to apologize. This is my first time running the board. Our founder, one of our co-founders and studio engineer is on assignment today. So I was like, something's missing when I pulled the game. Something's missing. Let me go give you the stats real quick. The Detroit Lions are 25 points a game. That's good for 9th in the league. They allow 20. That's 14th in the league. Total yards a game, 390. Second place, passing yards, 259. That's good for 6th. Rushing yards, 6, 131 a game. Yards allowed per game is 5th at 296. Goodness gracious. And turnover differential to even at 12th. The Chargers come in 25 points a game, good for 8th. 21 points allowed, that's good for 21st. Total yards a game, 341, 15th. Passing yards, 239, that's good for 11th. Rushing yards, 101, 21st. Yards allowed per game, 375. Second from the bottom at 30th. And turnover differential, they are actually first at +9. So, now that we got that, I'm trying, KG. I'm trying, baby. I'm trying.
Over. This game is going over. We just saw it in the stat line. If you can put it back up, BJ, I think both teams average about 25 points a ball game. So this is going over big time. I'm taking the Lions to win this, and I'm gonna give it to them outright, and I'm gonna take the -2.5. And the reason I'm gonna do that is because I think this may come down late to a field goal, and Detroit wins on the field goal. But what I saw last week from the Chargers is they just took advantage of a bad team. So the Chargers aren't really doing anything special. I just think they've had schedule luck so far. So right now, I don't have anything to go off of. But when I look at this stat line and I see 25 for one team, 25 on the other team, that's 50. So that's killing our 48 and a half. So I'm going to take the over for sure. And I'm going to take the Lions with the -2.5 because I think the Lions win this ball game outright and by more than a field goal. Go ahead, Thanos.
Real quick, Thanos, before we get in there, Xavier, with his pick, he's taking the Lions and the over. I'm writing them down, Xavier. On you, Thanos.
I'm taking the Lions. San Diego hasn't impressed me at all this year. I don't know what's going on with them, but Detroit has been impressive. I'm taking Detroit. I'm taking the over, and I'm going to have Detroit winning outright. I think by at least a touchdown.
Ah, man. Okay. You got Detroit. I want to go with the Lions, too. Ross, were you taking the over on that?
Yep. Taking the over by a
over.
lot, yeah.
I'm definitely taking the over. I think this is going to be a nice offensive game. This is going to be a nice little shootout you can sit back and watch. I'm going with the Chargers.
Okay.
I'm going with the Chargers, and I don't know why. I can't tell you why. I just feel like at home, both teams. I think I like the Chargers' offensive weapons a little bit more, and not by a lot, just a smidgen more than what Detroit has. But I do like Detroit's defense over the Chargers. But I think this is going to be. I really think that stat at the bottom, the turnover differential, is going to come to play in the Chargers' favor. So give me the Chargers and the over on that one. That's what I'm taking.
So we're gonna give that a we'll call that your gut call.
Yeah,
your
that's
it's not a gut check. What do we call that?
Hunch.
Say it again, Thanos.
Hunch. That's his hunch.
It's a hunch.
There we go.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Yeah.
The boss man BJ hunch of the day.
Hunch of the day. Don't put no money on that. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to get no emails or no calls saying, "Hey, I went with your hunch and I lost $1,000." I don't want to hear it. All right. Rolling into the next game. We have the San Francisco 49ers at the Jacksonville Jaguars. The 49ers are the favorite by 3, and the over-under for this game is 44.5. Real quick on the stats. The San Francisco 49ers. I think they're on a 3-game skid. Am I correct?
Correct.
Yes.
3-game skid. They're 4th in the league in points at 27. 4th, points allowed 17. 4th, total yards a game offensively 376. 8th, passing yards 243. 5th, rushing yards 133. 10th in yards allowed per game, and 8th in turnover differential at +4. The home team, the Jacksonville Jaguars, are 10th for 24 points a game. Points allowed 19 for 8th. Total yards per game 341. That's good for 14th. Passing yards 228, 14th. Rushing yards 112, 14th. Yards allowed per game 342. That puts him at 23rd, and turnover differential +5 at 6 per game. Midnight Rider. What is the stats show that the San Francisco 49ers should be riding high and on top? Why are they on a 3-game skid, and does it end today?
Well, the 3-game skid is connected to the fact that their quarterback had his brain scrambled against Minnesota and probably shouldn't have played the week after. I've been an advocate for that for the whole time, that there's no way that Brock Purdy should have been on the field for 2 of those ball games. As I'm looking at the numbers, I'm always looking at the points that these teams score. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the over on this ball game. And I can't remember who I took on my picks, but I'm going to take the you know what? I'm going to roll with Duval. I'm going to take the Jags to win this ball game So which means they definitely cover. And I'm gonna take the over on the 44.5. And the reason I say that is because they found a nice little mix with Travis Etienne. They've struggled to get Calvin really back into the ball game like he was early in the season, but I think they've got something going with their offense. And I just think San Fran has to figure out what's missing. And I think part of their problem right now is they haven't fed McCaffrey enough. And that's part of their problem. But the good thing is Debo is back this week. So we'll see how that plays out. But I'm still confident in the Jags to pull this ball game out. Go ahead, Thanos.
I'm going to go with San Francisco. I think it's going to be probably right around the over-under. I'll go over slightly. I think with Debo back, it makes a difference. Jaguars seem to have a tendency to give up a big play here and there. I think you're right. They don't feed McCaffrey enough. When they're feeding him the ball, the offense seems to work a lot better. Keep it out of Purdy's hands. I think it's probably going to be about maybe, I don't know, 2 field goals or something like that. But I'm gonna take the slight over in San Francisco.
I think this is a must-win game from San Francisco, and I agree with the Midnight Rider that we have. It's almost like the Tua situation where he shouldn't have been on the field when he had his concussions, and they just rushed him back out there. But you have Brock Purdy now. I think that maybe enough time, enough resting time to get himself back together. But the 49ers can't drop this game. That'd be 4 in a row. I love the way Jacksonville playing and flowing, and but I just feel like today I'm going with the 49ers and the over in Jacksonville. I think this is their day. I think you're going to see Kyle throw out some wrinkles and put some points on the board today.
Okay.
With that being said, we're going to go to our next game. That is the Houston Texans at, if I could find it, the Cincinnati Bengals. Midnight Rider, can you take this one for me?
Yeah, so I apologize for everybody in Sideline Junkie Nation because I've been a Houston Texan, basically a Houston Texan whore this whole time because I've pushed this envelope more than anybody in the building. So the Houston Texans are 11th in scoring with 23.4 points. They're 14th in points allowed with 20.6. 9th in total yards gained, 351. 4th in passing yards per game, 264.1. 27th in rushing yards with 87. 19th in yards gained allowed with 335. And their turnover differential is 8th with +4. Hold on, I gotta do the old man.
Yeah, it's +4.
All right, cool. Because I don't have the bifocals on my thing. On Cincinnati's side, Cincinnati 19.4 points per game, which is 23rd in the league. Points per game allowed, 20.3 for 12th. I just saw in a flash that somebody said something hasn't arrived yet, so I know that's KG. Total yards per game, 291.9 for 25th. Pass yards per game, 216, which is 18th. Rush yards per game, 75.9, which is 32nd in the league. 363.6 yards per game allowed, which is 27th. And turnover differential is +9, which is tied for first in the league. We say all of this as we get to
Big guy,
point.
I'm sorry, Midnight Rider. Big guy, who you talking about haven't arrived yet? Tell me who you talking about.
Cincinnati.
Okay. Yeah,
here we go.
Taking the Jags. And then we got, I'm sorry, I'm catching up on the comments. Zay's taking 49ers and the over. And for this pick, he's taking the Bengals and over. Oh, he's talking about, big guy talking about the Niners haven't arrived yet.
He said that like every week. So, okay. But for me, I think this is, you know what? Here we go. We're gonna go hunch of the week. I'm gonna go hunch of the week. I'm taking the Texans. I'm taking the over. I think the Texans win this ball game outright. I'm going against all my normal stuff because I believe in the Bengals, because I think the Bengals are in the midst of their run. But for today and today only, I'm gonna go against my normal thought process. And the only reason I'm gonna do it is I got 2 letters and 1 word. C.J. Stroud. He's in the midst of having one of the best rookie quarterback seasons of all time. I gave y'all last week. I gave you Tank Dell for a touchdown. I believe he's going to score again this week. In terms of running game, that's their only issue right now. The only issue is they're depending on Devin Singletary, who BJ knows very well because he was a Buffalo Bill. That's their only problem right now. That's the reason this offense hasn't flourished the way that it should have. Another name you got to think about, if he's healthy, I can't remember where he is because I know he's been in and out. Nico Collins is another guy that if you have a fantasy team, he might be an option for you if he's healthy. I'm not saying he is because I don't have that report in front of me, but that's another person to worry about. Thanos, snap on him.
Another fantasy one to look for is Noah Brown for Houston. Noah Brown has been getting some looks, some targets over the last few days or last few games. I want to pick Houston so bad. I'm going to go with Cincinnati. I'm going to go under and take the points.
There we go.
But I really think Houston's going to show them because I think Houston, just like Big Guy says with 49ers haven't arrived, Houston hasn't arrived yet. And I think really the only problem is their rushing game because Pierce is hurt. He's not the same. It's not the same running game as last year. Once the running game comes around, I think they're going to be in the mix for that 8th spot maybe at the end of the year. I really do.
Hey, look, I can see why Midnight Rider went this way. Stroud is playing out his mind. You see it right there. Passing yards a game, 4th in the league, 264. I just think that Cincinnati, I think the stats are misleading for Cincinnati because they've been playing bad ball for a while. And I think they're starting to get back on that, hey, we're one of the top teams in the AFC. They're starting to click and gel. And when they do that, I have faith in them. And we'll get to the other game later. It's another team that has to show me a little bit more, even though they're kind of firing on all cylinders. So I'm a roll. I think this is going to be an over game. I don't think either defense is going to be able to stop what the offense is going to put up. But I'm going to take Cincinnati. I think this is going to be a close game. I think this is going to be one of those games, like Thanos just said, where you think, hey, Houston might have a chance to get one of these spots. Because if they can stick with the Bengals like I think they can today, it's going to be tough for the rest of the teams on their schedule. It just is what it is. You got to watch out for the Houston Texans from now on because they got some offense. But give me the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm taking the over. But I'm taking the Texans to cover the points. So if my pen would work, I can write all that down. Over on Cincy, the Texans to cover the points because I think it's going to be a good game. Let's see. Xavier said Nico Collins is inactive.
Okay, so then we're not worried about him, but you still got to worry about and Ross, the great pull, Noah Brown. He had over 100 yards last weekend. So that's if you in a league and you need something to find. Actually, you know what? I'm about to go to FanDuel because I might put him in one of my lineups. We got plenty of time. So before this is over, just know Noah Brown is. I got CJ Stroud, Noah Brown. I don't know who else is going to be in my lineup, but yeah, in one of my 25-cent lineups, I'm gonna put that in.
They have Cincinnati, Higgins and Chase are both banged up. So I don't know how bad.
I think Higgins is inactive.
Yeah. So that takes away from the offense. I still think Cincinnati will win, but Houston's going to show something again, like they have almost every week.
Let me ask y'all guys one question before we move on to the next game. With Higgins being inactive, is that one of those things where it's addition by subtraction? Because do you think Joe Burrow is trying to keep those receivers happy by spreading their wealth?
Oh, I love this question. So, as a flag football QB aficionado, I never worry about keeping my receivers happy because every time you come back to the huddle, everybody's open and they don't see what you see. So I think quarterbacks have over the years just like developed a shell. So they like every time they hear it, it's like deaf ears. Like you're just all right, you open, okay, and you just ignore what the receiver is telling you. So I think that's the case. I don't think it's addition by subtraction. I think it's just a situation where now the focus goes on Jamar if he's healthy, and then Boyd. I think those guys become the thing. So if you have Boyd in your league, I think this is a week where you definitely have to start him because he's getting number 2 reps.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think that he goes out of his way. He may have like a closer bond with Jamar just because of their past together. But I don't think anybody's coming back to the huddle giving him the business because he's not finding them because he's spreading the ball out pretty good.
What you got, Midnight Rider?
All right, breaking. I'm watching, of course, the game in London. And I'm glad you caught that little jazz hands. I gotta post something because there's a block made by Andre Roberts in the game against Arizona where he does jazz hands and doesn't block the guy, and that play gets picked off by the Arizona Cardinals. But back on focus, Bailey Zapp has come into the ball game for the New England Patriots.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. I mean, if they were
Bailey Zappi.
If they were playing Buffalo, Mac Jones would look like a damn Hall of Famer, but they're not playing Buffalo, so that's another show.
Yeah,
for another
just
time.
like Daniel Jones with Washington, right?
Yeah, exactly. Hall of Fame career.
Yeah.
All right, fellas, we moving on to the next one, and this is for me. This is my game of the week.
Yep, mine too.
The Cleveland Browns going to M&T Bank Stadium to take on the hot Baltimore Ravens. All right, let's start with the home team with the stats. The points per game, and mind you, this is deceptive because Cleveland hasn't had their starting quarterback for a couple of games. 14th in the league at points at 22 a game. Points allowed, 3rd, 17. Total yards, 328. That's good for 18th. Passing yards, 29th, 184 game. They are 3rd in running the ball at 144 game. 1st in yards allowed, 234. 23rd in turnover differential at -4. The home team, the Baltimore Ravens, on fire right now. 26 a game. That's good for 6th. Points allowed, 13th. That's 1st. Total yards, 369, 6. Passing yards, 208, 20th. They are 1st running the ball at 160. 2nd in yards allowed at 262. And turnover differential, they're 10th +2. If you see me smiling, it's because so many of these stats today is going to be what this game is today. It is going to be a clash. Somebody, like, both teams run the ball very well. Both teams have really good defenses. It's going to be one of those, hey, where's the big guy? What's going to be one of those big guy, KG, slobber knocker. It's going to be an ugly 2021, 2017 type game. But I'm going to start with you, Thanos, and then we'll come back to the Midnight Rider. Give me your thoughts on this game here.
Just like Rick Doc Walker would say, it's going to be a manhood issue today. They're going to be running the ball. Cleveland plays fairly well, but I can't see them beating Baltimore. Lamar Jackson looks so comfortable in the new offense. He's gotten better each week. He's not, I don't know. He's still running the ball, but that's not like his first option. He's not like pulling it down, taking off. He's finding receivers. He's spreading the ball around. They have 3 guys that can run the ball. Keaton Mitchell last week came in and had over 100 yards. So they got three: Justice Hill, Gus Edwards, and Keaton Mitchell. You got three guys that can run the ball. I think Baltimore wins this. I think it's going to be over. I think Baltimore wins by 10.
All right, I had to unmute myself, and I am writing that down. And you said over. Here's the game I was talking about. I'm still not so 100% sold on the Baltimore Ravens because they do this at some point in the season, whether it's the beginning, the middle, or the end, and they just fall off the face of the earth.
That's true.
But right now, they're hot. And I think this is a test for both teams because out of the AFC North, how many teams in the playoffs in the AFC North right now? It's at least 3, right? Or all of them in the playoffs?
All four.
All four of them are in the playoffs right now. So this game and then Baltimore Cincy Thursday night, must-watch TV. Man, I'm going with the under on this. I don't think you get to 44 today. I think both defenses are too good to allow that. I think this is one of those games where you playing a division foe. Cleveland has Lamar's number. I'm not going to say they have his number, but they understand what to do with him. And I don't think you're going to see that Baltimore. If you see that Baltimore offense today, score, I will be surprised. I am going to take the Cleveland Browns today. I'll take the Cleveland Browns to edge out Baltimore because I still feel like Baltimore isn't. Well, I'm gonna use I'm gonna use big guy. They haven't arrived yet. I need to see Baltimore beat the snot out of Cleveland, and then I think their real test will be Thursday night with Cincinnati. This is one of those. This is the teacher you hate that keep giving those mini tests, and then the big test is Thursday. So this is the mini test with Cleveland because Cleveland isn't no joke. I think the more Deshaun and Amari Cooper play together, that's going to be really, really dangerous, and that's going to open up the offense even more. But give me Cleveland today and give me the under. And, of course, the Cleveland, cover the points, which is 3. So, Midnight Rider.
All right, so real quick, here we go. Gosh, I can't even do it real quick because I like the Browns, but I like the Ravens. I think you know what? I'm gonna go with the Ravens. I normally don't say this because I don't like them, but I think this is a Ravens game that'll hit the under. I don't see them getting 44 points, but I think this is a situation where because the way the Ravens have run their offense lately, they're going to be good to go. And I think when I listen to Cleveland radio this week, they're going to be belly aching about Deshaun Watson and the fact that he really hasn't arrived and hasn't done the things that they need him to do to be the franchise quarterback to earn that contract that they gave him. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Ravens.
Will he ever get to where he was with the Texans? Deshaun Watson?
You gotta. You know what, Ross? You almost made me use a pun, and I'm not going to use the pun about him needing to massage the situation to get better.
I was wondering about his shoulder, so he ain't getting no massages. That right shoulder. I ain't saying nothing, but it just
But that's like I said before, that's a difficult shoulder injury to come off of because 1 week it feels good, 1 week it doesn't. But I think the Ravens will do enough to win this ball game.
All right, we are in the home stretch. We got 2 games left.
All right,
we're going to go to the Monday night game. That Monday night game, which is the Denver Broncos going to Orchard Park to take on my beloved Buffalo Bills.
All right, so Denver is 16th in all points per game with 21.5, 32nd in the league at 28.3 points allowed per game, 22nd in total yards per game with 302, 27th in passing yards per game, 185.4, 11th in rushing yards per game with 116.8. 32nd in yards per game allowed with 406, and 12th in turnover differential at 0. On the side for the Buffalo Bills, we got the Bills 5th in points per game at 26.7. Points per game allowed, they're 17.8, which is 5th in the league. They're 5th in the league again in yards per game allowed with 370.2. Pass yards per game, they're 5th also with 262.1. Rush yards 108.1, which is 16th. Yards per game allowed 334 at 18th, and they're tied at 12th with turnover differential. Thanos, take it away with this one. BJ, swap the bottom ticker.
I think this will be a game for Buffalo to get right. I don't know. I really thought Buffalo was going to win last week. Just like I told B, I said I really thought Buffalo was going to win. Josh Allen isn't the same guy. I can't pin it on. Is it because Daboll left and went to the Giants? It seems like he's regressed. It really seems like he's regressed. Buffalo doesn't really have a running game where you can hand a guy a ball 30 times a game. I don't know. I think they're going to win. I think the points are about right. I'll take a slight over, but I'll pick Buffalo to win. I still have them as one of the better teams in the AFC. I don't know what's going on with Josh Allen. I don't know if they need to bring in another quarterbacks coach. I don't know if they need to fire the offensive coordinator. I don't know what they need to do.
So I'm with you with that thought process, because I think Ken Dorsey hasn't done enough to help Josh Allen out. I think the problem with the Bills is exactly what you said, Ross. That for their running game, I don't know if it's a question of, do they not depend on it enough? Is it their offensive line? Or is it the fact that they want Josh Allen to be Superman and save them from the situation at hand? So those are the three things that concern me. But I'm going to take the Broncos to cover, because I think they'll make it a close ball game. But I think the Bills will win this outright. And I think we're going to be slightly on the side of the over, because I think the Bills will have enough offense. And I'm going to give, who I'm giving a touchdown to today? I'm giving Dalton Kincaid the touchdown today.
Get to these comments real quick. Xavier says he's taking the Bills with the under, and the big guy, the Bills win big. Look, let me read some stats to you. Josh Allen, 71% completion. He is 4th in the league at 2,423, 18 touchdowns, 9 interceptions with a QBR of 99. I think what's failing the Bills right now is the complete disappearance of Gabriel Davis.
Yeah.
It's nothing to compliment Stephon Diggs, and that's why they are rolling coverage. 2 Diggs, they're double, they're triple teaming him, and he's still catching 9, 8, 10 balls a game. I think this is going to be an addition by subtraction. Dawson Knox didn't hurt. I don't want to see anybody getting hurt, but you have to see if Dalton Kincaid can be a number 1 tight end on the field, because you drafted him to do what Travis Kelce does in Kansas City, which is completely open up the middle of the field and absolutely be unguardable in certain situations. Now, I'm not putting that all on him because he's a rookie, but you got to see something. He got targeted last game. Like I said, he had that. I said it on the last year. He had that big fumble. So I think that's just, the rookie jitters, the nervousness. I think he gets 10 targets today. I think Diggs gets 10 targets today. I say this every week. If Josh Allen does not run the ball at least 6 times, the Bills have a chance of losing that game. Let me read something to you. This is where not taking care of business comes back to haunt you. They lost to the Jaguars in London. These are all winnable games. These are all games, and I think everybody watched these games and saw that the Bills just aren't taking advantage of their situations. They didn't get blown out. They lost to the Jaguars 25-20. They lost an inexcusable game to the Patriots 29-25, something they should have won. They lost to the Bengals last week 24-18. And in those losses, you're watching, like, what is wrong with this offense? They have moved the ball to midfield. They have moved the ball to the 40, and then they can't get the ball moving anymore. These are games they should have won. Now I'm going to take you to the flip side of what they have to deal with over the next couple weeks. They play the Broncos today. They got the Jets next week, the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Cowboys, the Chargers. This is where if Buffalo doesn't get it together, they're going to be out of the playoffs. You got the meat and potatoes. You got 2 Super Bowl contenders sitting right here, and the Eagles and the Chiefs. And then you got the team you play tomorrow night where Russell Wilson could come out and cook you for 360. You just don't know which team going to show up. They lost to the Jets earlier this year, the first game. The Cowboys, all these guys, the only game I can say, hey, we might be able to beat the Patriots, but we just lost to those. And then we finish off the season at Miami. So this is like 2. If you had just won 2 of those games, you'd be in a better position. But it is what it is. I don't think personally, the only thing I think wrong with Josh Allen is not running the ball. I mean, you can't argue with the stats. I say that with Kirk Cousins all the time. You can't blame it all on him. He's top 5, top whatever, passing the ball, 70-something% completion. Now, I will say this, and I said it on the last show. The garbage pail kids that play cornerback at Buffalo is a big part of the problem. And one of the Buffalo groups I'm in, somebody said it really well. I haven't been able to put words on it. But all of a sudden, Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer got old quick because they have not done anything. They haven't been near the ball. Usually, Micah Hyde is like an anticipation free. He's one of those bait free safeties where he lets you think that you got something open and he had enough ground to cover it and get it. And Jordan Poyer is your more physical guy. But they haven't done anything. And you were hoping with the injuries to Tre'Davious White and Elam not playing up to par, now he's hurt. You were hoping them two could like solidify the secondary. And of course, you lost Matt Milano. That's a big loss. But the guys in the middle, Terrell Bernard, has been doing an excellent job. I think it's moving to the defensive line. I think it's a damning on Ed Oliver that they had to sign Linnell Joseph. I think that's a damning thing to Ed Oliver. He's just not been there. It's just so many inconsistencies on the defense. It's going to be one of them things where your offense has to score 30 a game to even got to keep you in it. They can't stop anybody passing. Like I expect Russell Wilson tomorrow to have 300 yards passing the ball. Any team that has a legit quarterback is going to have 300 yards on this team. It just is what it is. With that being said, I guess I got to pick a winner. I'll take my Bills, but I think I'm gonna take the Bills, but I think the Broncos are going to cover, and I think we're going over. I'll take them. They have to win. They're in must-win situations for the rest of the year. They are. Well, it just is what it is.
I mean, the good thing is you're in the AFC. You figure that the teams in the North are going to kind of fight themselves or deter their options for the playoffs because they're going to beat up on each other. So you get a chance. There's a window where you can have this opportunity where you may not finish in first, but I don't know. I mean, I think you can still finish in first because Miami hasn't shown the fortitude to beat anybody with a winning record. So, like, Buffalo has a chance. I know you're in sitting in a fan seat and you're looking at it from this is my team standpoint, but I think you have the options because of the fact that Miami hasn't shown the stick-to-itiveness or the fortitude to play against teams with a quality record, that you have an option to be involved the rest of the way.
Yeah.
At Philadelphia, bye week at the Chiefs. Cowboys at home at the Chargers. That's the Bills I'm not really worried about the Jets. I should be, but I'm really not. Because in my head, these are teams that they should beat. The Broncos, the Jets, they should beat. Then they got 4-5 games where it's just rough patch. And then we'll see. We will see. It's going to take – they had a team meeting, and I think it was offense only, I believe. And we'll see if that shakes the nest up a little bit and the Hornets get the sting. We'll see. I feel like this is going to be a Brandon Beane wake up call, and this team is going to have to be reconstructed on the fly. They got a lot of cap issues and stuff, but he's done really good with piecing that thing together and moving things around. And I actually have faith in him. If it has to be done, it has to be done. But it's some guys that can't be here next year. We'll get into that later. I know we're only weeks in, but yeah.
Yeah, I think this is you really being the fan of your team. So you don't see, like I always tell people, sometimes you don't see the forest from the trees sometimes when you're the fan. So we might get into this in the next game for myself. But yeah, I think it's forest, and you're not seeing the forest because you're still stuck in the midst of the trees.
Big guy KG said Miami is fool's gold.
Nope.
And the AFC East is Buffalo's the one. I agree with that. But, when you keep dropping, games you shouldn't have dropped, and you're just making it hard on yourself. But we will see. We will see. Let's move on to our next and final game. I'm going to find it. And that is Washington's Commanders. I'm trying to find my other layout here. Washington's Commanders are going to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. Gentlemen, let's see what we got here. Hold on. My screen isn't cooperating with me.
I got you. So Washington is 18th in points per game with 21.2. Points allowed per game, they're 31st at 27.2. That's a shocker. 17th in total yards per game with 332.1. Ninth in pass yards at 242. 26th in rushing yards per game at 90.1. Yards per game allowed, 28th with 368.9. And their turnover differential there at -1, which is good for 17th. On the Seattle side, the Seahawks are 21.4 points per game at 17th. Points per game allowed, they're 21.9, which is 22nd. Total yards per game, 311.4, which is good for 20th. Pass yards per game, 214.1, which is 19th. Rush yards per game, 97.3, which is 23rd. Yards per game allowed, 354.1, which is 25th. And their turnover differential is +2, which is 10th in the league. Go ahead, BJ. I'm going to let you start this off for us.
Let me read some stats for y'all, because y'all know I got some stats for y'all. Mr. Sam Howell is your second leading passer in the league. He comes in at 2,471 yards a game, 14 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and 66 completion percentage. Now, I had to look at this several times because I said, is this his whole career or is this the season? He has been sacked a leading 44 times. Let me read that again. Sam Howell has been sacked 44 times. The next closest person to him at number 2 is Zach Wilson for the Jets, and he's been sacked 31 times. Just to give you a perspective of how many times Sam Howell's been sacked. And some of that Sam's fault for holding the ball too long, but I think that tells you, and the big guy has said it a couple times, where is the offensive lineman ranking coming from when you see those type of stats? Like, it's just like, are we looking at the same offensive line that y'all are talking about are doing really good? Like, but on to the game. Let's see. There we go. Okay. I am going to take the Commanders, and I'm taking the over in this game. I think you're starting to see. From now on, there can't be any Washington fan saying we need a quarterback. You have your quarterback. He's here. I think for what you've seen and the bad offensive line play, you got your guy. That's settled. You just got to figure out who the weapons are going to be going forward and how to solidify the offensive line. Like what I see from Sam. He just got to limit the mistakes, and his mistakes come at the most inopportune time sometimes. And I think that's what it's one of them back-breaking mistakes. They're usually like, it takes the air out of everybody. The quarterback is situated for Washington. Everything else got to fall in place. Now, I'm taking Washington today. I'm taking the over. And I think this is going to be a close game. I think Washington goes in here, and I think they nip Seattle. I think it's going to be one of them like 27, 28, 24, 28 type games. But I like Washington today. I really do. I think the more the season goes along, the more confidence Sam Howell has, and the less he'll get sacked because he's not holding on to the ball because he knows where he wants to go with it. They're going to have to I don't think the defense, how do I say this? The offense is going to have to win this game today. The offense is going to have to win it. Sam is going to have to win this game today. I hate saying that because I don't want him throwing 50 and 60 times, but I think it's on Washington's offense to go in there, put some points on the game, on the board, and then put pressure on Seattle's offense to move the ball and try to get some turnovers. That's all I got. Is it on you, Thanos?
Yep. I'm gonna go the same. Washington, just over. It's November, so Ron does great in November to build everybody's hope, to break our heart in December. So they'll probably win today. I'm saying over. Like B was saying, 31-28, maybe 34-31, something like that, really close. I think they still need to limit the 5 and 7 step drops. They need a quicker beat. That they've done that a little bit more the last couple of weeks. It has kept Sam from getting sacked. I'd like to see a little bit more running game. Baltimore exposed Seattle as far as the running game last week, especially up the middle. So I'm going to take Washington over today.
Around the world, the girl gets this message. You ain't coming back. Lights is off. She's crying. And my voice comes in the middle of the night. That's what I told her. Every time I make a run, girl, you turn around and cry. I ask myself.
Yo, so that's Wyclef, Gone to November. And that's the Ron Rivera theme song. A long way to just saying the simple point. I think the Commanders win today. I think since I'm taking the Commanders, they'll have the +5.5. I do think this might be on the under. I think this might be a 2017 situation. But like Thanos said, this is the month of Ron Rivera. I think he's like 7-1 or something crazy like that in this month. And then the other crazy part is the Commanders themselves are 7-1 in Seattle. They haven't won a playoff game there yet, but they're 7-1 playing in Seattle. And if memory serves me correct, the last time they were there, they were a banged up, beat up football team, and they threw a pass to Josh Doxson down the sideline to win a ball game in Seattle. So I can see this as a place where maybe they get right and they can be 5-5. And then they get to figure out the last 6 weeks of the season. I'm not crazy about it, but I think that's the situation we walk into. Is this team has an opportunity, they have a chance to figure out what they are and who they are for the last 6 weeks of the season. So give me Washington with the win, Washington with the number, because of course there's a +5.5, and the under on the 44.5, because I don't think we're going to get to a 33 ball game. But the one thing I really want to see tonight is If you're an owner of Antonio Gibson, I would love to see Antonio Gibson go crazy tonight. And I'm not talking about from a rushing, I'm talking from a combined yard standpoint, where he might have 50 yards rushing, but he might have 70 to 80 yards receiving, because I think they can find something in this game to get him going and to make this offense more explosive. Back to you, BJ.
Real quick, the Commanders' next 4 games, they have the Seahawks today, the Giants at home, at the Cowboys for the 23rd of November, and then they play the Dolphins at home, and then they have a bye week, week 14. I'm looking at the schedule, and I like I said, if Sam Howell keeps rolling the way he's rolling, and if we think Eric Bieniemy is the guy he starts unfolding some more play pages in the playbook and starts throwing some more wrinkles in there to get the defense off balance, I think you're going to see a dangerous Washington team down the stretch. I really believe that. We just got to see how this defense responds with the subtractions of Sweat and Young for the rest of the season. But I really think like Sam Howell is like, I'm not trying to swing off his sack too much, but I really think that this guy is he's it for Washington. And once you settle that QB, everything else starts falling into place for these teams, and you'll figure out who's gonna be his favorite target. Who is his favorite target? I don't think Terry is his favorite target.
I think it's Curtis.
Logan Thomas.
Thomas. Big guy, if you listening, who do you think Sam's favorite target is? Because I feel like it's forced to 17 a lot.
But that's the way you're supposed to do it, right? You're supposed to get your big guy, your main guy, involved as much. But I think for me, what I've seen is he likes Curtis and he likes Pringle for some crazy reason. And it's not even a disservice to Pringle as a wide receiver. I think Pringle is a guy who's a solid enough pro and he's in the right places. And the other thing I like the Jamison Crowder. And I have to apologize to the world because I think in my mindset, Crowder, I was thinking of when I heard Crowder's name, I was thinking of Steven Sims' failures as a return man. So I didn't have a good correlation. And I think Jamison Crowder is the unsung hero for this team, this offense, the special teams. We're actually getting returns in the punt game of 10 plus yards where we're able to flip the field or put ourselves in better position. We're getting situations where he's playing in the slot. He's making plays. So as much as we want to push the Diami train because he went to North Carolina, but Diami hasn't helped Sam in situations. And there it is, catch the ball. I mean, last week is a perfect example. He has a pass down the sideline and he just drops it. So I think there are situations where we want to get Diami involved. It's the whole North Carolina thing, but I think Curtis Samuel is the guy for him. Yeah. He really wants to get the ball to, and I think we've uncovered a jewel in this Jamison Crowder experiment.
Yeah. Boss man, not boss man. I'm the boss. Goodness gracious.
You're the boss.
Yeah, the board is frying my head. So the big guy says Diami he thinks is Sam's favorite target, and then Zay feels like whoever's open.
Okay,
I like that too. It's the way it should be. Just a question I threw out there. We are coming to the end of the show, and we're gonna wrap this thing up. And guys, any final thoughts? Any bold predictions before we get out of here?
Jamison Crowder is going to take a kickback. Maybe not be this game, but he's going to take a punt back. The next 2 games, he's going to break. He's been just a block away the last few weeks. He's going to get a punt return for a TD. And I don't know when's the last time we saw that.
I think it was him against the Ravens. Maybe. That's the last time they had a punt return for a touchdown. I think Chase Young gets 2 sacks today. That's my bold prediction. I think Chase Young's going to be in a situation where he ain't got to worry about ticket requests. He doesn't have to worry about like, is he going to see junk or is he going to see backyard? I think he gets to be on the West Coast and just has the opportunity to just play football and not have to worry about his current situation in the DMV. So I see him getting 2 sacks today.
My bold prediction, I think Russ throws for 350 tomorrow night. Now, whether the Bills can withstand that and come out with a W, that's going to be remain to be seen. But I think Russ has a big night, 350 and 4 touchdowns against that Buffalo defense. So, fellas,
So
He does
just
that
to-
at the end.
just to
He does
recap
that at the
this,
end,
hold
trying to
on.
catch up.
I got Crowder with a punt return TD.
Yep, punt return TD next 2 games.
We got Chase getting 2 sacks today. And then what you got, BJ, again?
I got Russ 350 and 4 touchdowns.
Russ Wilson, Bronco Nation. Let's ride. 350 and 2 touchdowns.
4.
Woo. Oh, 4. Wow.
I got 350 and 4.
Ooh.
That's a bold prediction. We
It-
doing
I-
we
but
being
listen,
bold.
but I feel like Josh and Kincaid and those guys can put up 35, 40, 42, 35 on that Broncos defense. So I'm not worried about
Okay.
them putting up 28. But I just feel like that Bills defense, that secondary, that's my bold prediction.
All right, I'm with you.
That's what I got. Gentlemen, it has been a pleasure. We got to get out of here. It is 12:47. If you haven't done so already, please go make your picks. If you're in our Pick'em League, and please set your fantasy lineups. If you have anybody playing like myself, I'm hoping Devo's ready to come back so I can put him in the lineup and try to make up some ground in the fantasy league. So for myself, the boss BJ, Midnight Rider, and thank you always for joining us, Mr. Thanos himself. Matter of fact, can you snap your fingers and take us out of here? Snap your fingers and take us out of here, Thanos.